The first videos regarding student functionality covered features that I added after the assignment and tools section, and those were added because the students got so excited about the assignments and tools. They said, well, why don't you just go ahead and complete the entire application, and so that's what I did. But I think what you're going to see is that the assignment section just was a huge improvement over many of the online systems that were out there. What I did is I completed an analysis of online education systems, and then also got student input, and then my own knowledge as an instructor for over 2 years, and used all that information to design this assignment component. And I think you'll see the level of functionality that was there was very efficient. It made the student's life easier, and it clearly made things better for the instructor as well. Okay, when clicking on the View Assignments tab and then navigating and clicking on View Assignments, you see the standard color coding that's consistent across the site. The light blue is material not covered, or that has been covered. The red is material that is the focus, and the tan is the material yet to be covered. So you can see here in this screen capture that exercise 5 was the primary focus as far as exercises go. Once the student clicks on that, then it would automatically trigger the calendar, which would scroll to the correct month, and then also highlight the exercise start and end dates, as you can see there. One of the things that was nice is that the students had the ability to see all assignments or assignments individually, showing all assignments, and then as they scrolled through the calendar, it kind of gave a flavor for their overall amount of work for the course, and the students liked that, and then they could click on them at any time based on calendar date. At any rate, this is all part of the course creation component. So as an instructor, as you go through and you add your assignments, in this case exercise by exercise, project by project, you're required to enter a start date and a duration for an exercise. You're required to add a help. You're required to add the assignment, a list of these assignment materials that the student is required to submit, and then a criterion, a spreadsheet-based criterion that identifies how they're going to be graded on every single facet of the assignment. Now, those are all very key things to any student. They need to know how many days until assignment is due. They need to know when it actually starts, when it's due. They need to know everything about the assignment. They need to know what they're expected to hand in, and they need to know how they're going to get graded on every piece. So this was a major facet of the entire application, and because this is part of the course creation component, you create this once, you archive it, and the next semester all that you do is you merely set your you import it, you set your start date for the course start date, and it intelligently lays everything out into the calendar. So all the work that you did is brought in completely, and the only thing that you're left to do is that if there's any course dates that for assignments that need to be modified a little bit, there's a very simple management piece. You just go in and modify those, and you're done, and you're completely ready for your students. So rather than spending hours and hours and hours preparing for the next semester, you merely import your modules, spend a couple hours in grand total for all of them, and you're done and ready to go. So let's get going with the rest of the presentation on this. For the assignment module, another thing that was very important was the ability to lock down an assignment. So in this case, the student clicked on the exercise 4, and you can see now right below the yellow tabs it says check your grading tools for your assignment grade. Once a student is due and they're past the date, unless they get permission from the instructor, they no longer have the ability to even upload their assignments. You, the instructor, have full capability to unlock their assignment on a per student or per course basis very easily with a couple of clicks of your mouse, but the student has to request that. They can't just do it, and you have full control over that. And so you can see that here in this screen. In the screen capture, it shows that they are locked out of getting future assignments. So I found this very beneficial for both myself as well as for the other students in the class, because you'd have students that jump ahead and they would start asking questions about material that you weren't even covering yet. That was a huge time waster, and so this essentially prevented them from doing that, and it was a nice addition. This is a slide that showed how the exercises were laid out in the calendar. If you chose to show all, it's pretty self-explanatory. Now the ability to view the assignments, you can see the yellow tab bar on the far right side. If they clicked on the view assignment, they would then get a standardized template that would describe the assignment, whether it's an exercise, project, essay, or whatever it is. This is wizard based. You can see quite easily the different sections that you, the instructor, have to enter. But once you complete the wizard, it dynamically generates this template for the exercise, and it's fully archivable and then importable in the following semester. It's very standard, and you could tie your criterion directly back. It worked very well to tie directly back to this template. Excuse me. Another key facet was the assignment list. Students would forget to submit certain portions of assignment, and what happened is I figured out, okay, if I give them an assignment list, the likelihood of them missing pieces of assignment would go down, and they'd also name things really in odd ways, and then you would wonder, well, what the heck is this document anyway? And you'd have to dig through all that, and this helped to standardize it. They actually had to match up with this list. Students liked it because they did have to match up with the list. So and I'll show you on the upload my files tab how nicely this works with that. This next slide shows the criterion sheet. So this could obviously be quite long. In this case, the exercise was worth 10 points. You, the instructor, again, this is wizard based. You go through and you just enter the criterion in the wizard, and boom, it produces this for you automatically, and then the students know exactly the criterion that they're going to get graded on. In the grading piece, as you went through and graded, you'd look exactly at the same template. The only difference is an extra column where you'd enter the grades. So it was nice because as you went through the assignments for the students, you could just look and see, okay, here's the max total, here's what they gave. You'd enter the point total. If it was less, it would then pop up a note field where you'd add notes that the students then would be able to read for every single criterion. So you'd have this nice historical note for you to refer back to, but they'd have the nice notes so that when they're wondering, well, why was that point taken off, they could read it and they'd have no doubt in their mind why they lost the points, and then if they had further questions, they could go and talk to you about it. Okay, if you remember the previous file list, this is where it tied together and was very nice. All that they would do is they'd navigate to the file that they were going to upload, and then they click on the upload button. When they uploaded these files one by one, this this grid would list out the files that they'd uploaded, the date and time, size, and so on. And so it was nice for them. They would know exactly when things occurred, and as an instructor I had full view too, so I could see when they're getting their work done. In addition, when they finally uploaded all of their files, there's a very nice feature that it would print out on the bottom a success of uploading all the files for the assignment, so they knew when they actually had submitted everything that was required. Whether it was right or not would always be another question, but at least they knew they got in what was supposed to be done. You can see in the very bottom there's a thing called file bags, and this is a nice little depository for the students, so if they had other things that were related to the course that they wanted to be able to upload and then be able to manage and download and delete and so on, they could very easily do that on a per course basis, and the file bags are pretty big, so they had a lot of flexibility there. And those file bags did not have to match up with the names of any files for assignments or projects, and so there was an additional benefit there too. Okay, next we'll look at the file management itself. They had full capabilities to manage their files. They'd merely check off the files that they wanted to delete and then execute the delete functionality, and they were gone. They had the ability to download any files. They could download them all at once, use the button to do that, or they could click on individual files and download them. If they clicked on download all, it would then take them to the next screen, and the program would dynamically pack them up into zip files. And when it was done and ready to do that, it would display this page, and then they click on the download. And when they did that, it would then allow them to download the files. So again, you can, just in review, you can see that this basic assignment functionality here was quite powerful. My students found it very beneficial. As an instructor, I found it very beneficial because they could get everything they needed to know about how they were going to get graded for a particular assignment. Okay, this concludes this video. The last video will actually cover the tools. Thank you for your time, and please take a moment to see the other videos.